Hello, this is Deborah Anderson, the BlkWmnAnimator, coming back to you with another video. This video is about how I don't identify as a blerd. I want to start off with saying that there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a blerd. I fully believe that there's multiple ways to be black, and just because you like anime or comic books doesn't mean that you're being white. In that I'm in the animation industry, I feel like it's a fair assumption that people think I am a blerd. Animation is one of those industries where a lot of the people in it have same or similar interests, and the people who are black tend to identify as blerds. And that's something I talk about when I talk about diversity in animation and trying to get more diverse people. The fact that a lot of people have similar personalities and similar likes and dislikes. I would like the animation industry to go more towards how you think of teachers or lawyers, where just because you know their profession, you cannot automatically assume what their likes are. And in the animation industry, there are a variance of people who like additional things, maybe like fishing, sports, and all that stuff. But if you went into maybe an animation studio and threw a ball, you will most likely hit someone who identify as a nerd or a blerd. So the definition of a blerd is a black nerd, and a nerd is usually associated with liking anime, comic books. They'll know random facts about topics that maybe other people aren't really interested in. And you know, the comic book movies, being very involved, dressing up as characters, those are things that are usually associated with being a nerd, and there's like some additional things. And for me, I'm not sure if I've ever read a comic book from backward to forward. I don't think I would be opposed to it, and I've definitely drawn characters from a comic book. I remember my cousin had the X-Men Babies comic book at my grandma's house, and I drew the cover, and I remember that I forgot the ring finger for Wolverine, baby. And so, and then with the comic book movies, I am definitely interested in watching them in order and getting the storyline, but just in general, I suck at going to the movies. I had the movie pass, paying I was like an early adopter, paying $10 a month, and over a year never used it. So I just am horrible at going to the movies for any type of movie. So there's like nothing against Marvel movies or DC movies. Definitely wouldn't be opposed to knowing the storyline, but it's like not an imperative thing in my life. There's even movies that I actually really want to see that I just in like of any genre that I just may be too lazy to go to the movies and see, and I haven't even gone to like any alternative way to watch them. I feel like I just have too many interests, and it's hard to like fit them all in a 24-hour day, 7 days a week. What else? Additionally, I got my first video game system, which is an Xbox 360. I got it off eBay several years ago, and the only reason I got the system is because of Rock Band. So I'm very passionate about Rock Band, and hopefully I can get into Rocksmith, where I can hook up my actual bass guitar that I don't know how to play and learn how to play it. But it also the person also sent like Halo and Call of Duty and all these other games, and I just don't have any interest in playing them. And my disinterest in video games can be traced back to my childhood and my twin brother, who he would have the Nintendo 64 and be playing all the games, and he was like a video game addict and playing them daily for hours, and so by the time I'll be interested in playing, he was very well versed in the different moves. And so when I would play wrestling with him, he would be trapping me in the corner and beating me to a pulp, and that's just not something I'm interested in. Like, continually losing at a game, like, what's the point? And even with the games that I now have on my phone, I like a challenge, but it can't be so difficult that I don't think I'll ever be able to win. So I like really difficult games, but I mean, and then I'll get sucked into like various games over the years and be in the higher levels, and then at some point it's just like I think about, okay, when they create these random like the random games that you're playing, is there an actual way to beat this level in this configuration? And if I don't feel like there's an actual way to beat it, I just stop playing the game, because I'm just like, this is impossible. There are some people who like really like that and really like a challenge, really like figuring that stuff out, which I do like that to a point, but I feel like it's nearly impossible to beat a game that I'm like over it. And as some people know, I went to Rochester Institute of Technology, and anybody who has gone to an Institute of Technology know that those places are chock full of nerds. And so you could be walking around campus and it looks like Comic-Con on any given day, with people walking around with the trench coats and maybe, I don't know if they can do this in 2019, but maybe some fake swords and all this, looking like a video game character. And then it'll be really cool to be in my film and animation classes, and we would be coming up with stories. And some of my classmates, some of the stories that they came up with, it's just like, how the heck did you think of that? Like, it's so quirky and imaginative and stuff like that, and it just be like, woo, your mind is just going to a whole nother dimension. Which it would be cool, like storylines, to just be like, what? How did you think of that? And then I would go to like an animation, or not an animation, but an entrepreneurship conference on campus, and there will be this session that have the word creative in the title, and I go to it and I'm like, oh, this is definitely not the same creative as the School of Film and Animation, because you know, there's different ways to be creative, and there's ways to be creative in the business world, but it's just like a letdown, like, oh, this is like subpar creativity as compared to what I hear in my class from my classmates. And then I remember going to MomoCon last year in Atlanta, and I wanted to go to some of the sessions. I was there to be on a panel for like working overseas in animation, and one of my old coworkers from BlkWmnAnimator, who's an American and lives in Atlanta, he submitted the panel to them, and so that's why I was there. And so I definitely wanted, I had been to Comic-Cons because one of my mentors, AJ, he does his Goodfit, GUDFIT, comic books and stuff like that, and he goes to different Comic-Cons around the world to sell his comic books and do drawings. And so when he comes to WizardCon in New Orleans, he'll like set aside a ticket for me, and I'll sit as booth. But I had never been to like Comic-Con and been to sessions and walked around, so I really wanted to use that opportunity to go to some sessions. And so I went to a really good one with like more minorities in like voiceover. And then I went to one, I know it just had like the word black in the title, and so I was like, okay, let me go to this one. And it was purely a chance for Blerds to geek out on anything like anime related. It was just like, I'm just here as an observer because they're talking about all these things. Now I know that black people have commandeered Vegeta as a black character, so that's cool. But I like the title that I read was just, I thought it was going to be something different, which, I mean, the way they did it, it was cool. for the people it was targeted to. And it was just like, it was definitely not like an organized, this is my session. It was just like, let me just write down all these things and create all these slides and let's geek out and come together as people and just be like, yes, black people in anime and video games, this rules. So which it was cool, but it was just like, I was kind of over it after a while. I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll go now. But and then, you know, working at Turbo Squid, and I definitely was like cool and was friends with my coworkers, but I definitely could not. After Steam had a sale one time and they talked for hours on all the video games they bought on sale and just all this stuff, and I just was like, help me. Like, they just were talking too much. I just don't let, you know, like, people talk too much about anything, but because I can ignore you to a point, but then there's a point where it's just like, you're still talking. And so yeah, like, I like some of the things that people who identify as nerds and blerds like, but I just don't identify as a blerd. But I definitely would like to shout out all the blerds out there. Please continue to be who you are and don't let anybody make you think that you are white because of the things you like, because black people are allowed to like various things and still be black, because being black is being a skin color. We do have like a little culture, but we can expand our culture. I like that in the 1960s, 1970s, even though there were different ways to be black then, it was like less acceptable ways to be black, and so we were generally seen as more of a monolith even if we weren't. But I like in 2019 that we're like becoming more free, and then there's more various communities in our black culture, black American culture and stuff like that. So viva la resistance. But if you have anything to share in the comments, feel free. Please like this video, please subscribe. I think I'm at 95 subscribers now. I would really like to get to 100, and then I can not care anymore, because at 100 I could just like there's some things I can do on the back end of YouTube, and so that's just like my milestone for right now. So 5 people, if you don't like, or if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel, even if it's a pity subscribe. I take them all. Please share this video, and please if you have any comments, put it in the comment section. If you have any ideas for any other videos I could do, please suggest them. Luckily I'm really good at coming up with ideas, but if you have anything you want me to talk about, please feel free. I do hope to do more produced videos. I do have ideas for just like helping people who don't know what they want to do, especially like kids and teenagers. I have ideas for those videos, but it just takes more time and it's easier to just talk at the camera. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.